never regained consciousness. He was just coughing up huge amounts of blood. And I mean, yeah, it's weird because you just look at him and you're just like, sorry, bro, I'll just catch you on the other side. The mail consisted of, the basic letters, your care packages from home to the U.S. mail system. They go into Bagram. From Bagram, we pick it up, and we go ahead and load it up into the appropriate mail trucks. And then from the mail trucks, we get it to the drop sites. We handled RC East, so we would deliver to Fob Fenty in Jalalabad, Ghazni, Fob Shank in the Logar province, Fob Gardez, Lashkar, Herat, Torgundi, Mazar Sharif, and Kunduz. I mean, we were all over the country.
Ed's the one that got me into Afghanistan. One of their teams got hit pretty bad, and they needed a lead medic, not just a team medic, but they needed somebody to put their program together. So my job there wasn't just to provide combat medicine. It was to put together medical profile cards, do med outs and safe havens, train all of the other guys up to speed on combat lifesaver. So I developed that whole thing so that they could work independently and enhance the mission accomplishment.
That was our highest priority. That was our only priority, move the mail. Mail is important for the troops. It's good for the morale. They get their care packages, they get their news from home, they get their pictures, what the kids are doing. I think we had like a 98% drop rate. Success rate for our drops. There was a couple of mail trucks that when teams got hit and ambushed, the trucks got hit and caught fire, and we had to burn them. We had to burn the vehicles. That's going to happen. Iraq and Afghanistan were two different wars. Iraq, they'd pop an IED off at you, maybe fire off a few rounds. Here in Afghanistan, I mean, they would stay and fight. They wanted to fight you. My new ATL, my buddy Chris Vale, and I tell him about this, and he looks up at me and smiles and goes, they're worthy adversaries. I was like, oh, yeah. Be careful what you wish for. We would drop mail down there, and they would backload all the outgoing mail onto those trucks. All that outgoing mail we would bring back, and then the next day, we would head up to Bagram. All the outgoing mail would get put over on one area, and we'd pick up the next load of inbound mail, and then start the whole process over again. Depending on the drop sites, some drop sites weren't that bad to get to, depending on the time of year. Other drop sites, you just dreaded going there, because that they were like really high risk. I mean, some days you knew you were rolling to get hit, but you still went out there to do the job.
I got hit at Shank with a 3,000-pound V-bid that killed 57 people and wounded something like 125. And I was pulling guys out of the rubble pile that weren't even part of my team. And next thing you know, you're kind of spread thin, you're thin, and I'm going, well, what about my own team? Are my own guys okay? Because they're out here. And I had a team leader that was ex-Green Beret, very well connected. He went to the B-Doc, and their MRAPs were out on some kind of a hunter-killer mission. And so we didn't want to get stuck in this fob while this gate was breached. So he told him, hey, we'll put our gun trucks on the outside and we'll guard all these activities until your MRAPs come, and then once the MRAPs show up, you can leave. I thought that was forward thinking, and training is what did that for us.
Just outside of Organy, my lead vehicle ended up hitting an IED. It was command detonated, and I remember I remember seeing the big cloud of smoke go up. I was blocked, part of my vision was blocked by a little bit of the bend in the road and the cliff, the high embankment. As soon as I come around, I'm calling on the radio, lead is his hammer, and he wasn't answering. I popped around the corner, and there it was. The vehicle was down hard. The back door was blown open, and saw what looked like a big brown sleeping bag on the ground. And yeah, I ended up I ended up deploying. Doc ended up deploying right behind me. Made a phone call back saying, hey, I got a vehicle down. We need to get the medevac plan going. I got men down hard. And I ran up to the, what I thought was the sleeping bag, and it wasn't the sleeping bag, it was my interpreter. He got blown clear out of the vehicle. I remember grabbing him and pulling him over, and he had that lifeless, his eyes were open, but I mean, you could tell he was dead right away. And Doc was right behind me, and I was just like, I must have looked back at him with that stupid look like, gee, Doc, can you fix him? Doc was like, boom, on it. Fuck him, he's gone, let's go. And I just followed him, and we got to the vehicle. He jumps in the back with the two wounded gunners, and they were hurt really bad. I come around the side, and that's when I saw my buddy Scott Brown. He comes out. He had a broken back and 2 fractures in his pelvis. And he gets out of the vehicle with an AK-47 and runs up a hill, 100 yards up a hill, and I'm like, oh shit, I gotta catch him. I get up to him, and he's like, dude, I'm on adrenaline. I was like, whatever you do, don't move. Stay right where you're at, man. I cannot lose track of you. He's like, all right, but I'm telling you, I'm on adrenaline. I'm hurt bad. And so we go back down, and I help Buddha pull the driver out, Pero, and we ended up losing him too. Massive internal injuries. He never regained consciousness. He was just coughing up huge amounts of blood. And I mean, yeah, it's weird because you just look at him and you're just like, sorry, bro. I'll just catch you on the other side. Ironically, today is the 12th anniversary of when we lost Matt and Chris. You know, for whatever reason, they hit that IED, and it killed them both instantly. Yeah, I mean, that was a hard hit because there were days I sit down and think, man, if I'd taken that mission, he'd still be with us. But the other guys were telling me, no, something else was going to happen. It was his time to go. Oh yeah, Chris was awesome. He was a former Marine, machine gunner. Fought in the second Fallujah fight. He was really good, really good attention to detail. Matt was really good, real good ATL, also a real good navigator. They were good, solid dudes, and I mean, yeah, it sucked losing them like that.
So the interesting thing about contracting is that we talk about brotherhood all the time, but people have to realize that we're living together, we're eating together, we're training together, we're running missions together. It's a 24/7. You're married to that contract, and those are the guys that you're with, and you have to learn to trust them right off the bat. Ed had this foot locker that he stored stuff in, books and gear and whatnot, first aid equipment and everything. But every time he got hit, he would grab some kind of a momentum, whether it was a broken cell phone or a busted flashlight, or we even have what they call a heart of stone. It's a rock that when it got broken, it's the shape of a heart, so we call it the heart of stone. And he threw everything in that foot locker, and every time something would happen, it would get worse and worse and worse. Not just in terms of the psychological impact, but in terms of the type of ambush. Whether it was a single event, a multiple event, or event that involved deaths, or event that involved deaths of your really close friends, to finally an event that killed like 5 guys in one hit. That's insurmountable in terms of, the pressure that's on a team leader. And he stored all of that stuff in that foot locker rather than let his guys know that he was suffering through this stuff. Because in order for him to be effective, he had to do something, and I think that was the mechanism that helped him get through everything. So.
This book does our fallen justice in trying to immortalize them, if you will. Also that bringing forth the camaraderie of these what we did out there, how we operated as teams, bringing out that camaraderie. We were able to transfer it from the military into the civilian sector.
I think me writing it, I probably had a better feel for what he was going through because I was there, for a lot of that. And you know, and we share a connection. You know, we've got that brotherhood going on, and it was easier for me to put myself in his shoes than, let's just say, some Ghost Rider or whatever that doesn't have any kind of conflict experience.
You know, there's a part of me that sits down and thinks, I mean, did I do enough? But I mean, I think that's with everybody when they deal with that. I mean, did I do enough for them? But I mean, that's what I'm hoping the book will accomplish for our guys that we lost. You know, that they live forever. You know, say their names and they'll never die.